Next on the Rockbridge Report. Today kicks off the 27th Washington & Lee Mock Convention. From the parade to the actual prediction, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the historic event.
The Wuhan coronavirus continues to have the world on edge. We'll give you the latest updates to keep you informed on the virus's spread.
There's lots of anticipation ahead of Mock Convention, but will the weather cooperate? We'll let you know the forecast ahead of the big weekend.
And later in the newscast, we'll give you the story of one woman whose love of the Girl Scouts has no age limit.
Live from the campus of Washington & Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Hi, I'm Lila Kimball.
And I'm Jack Jaries. Washington & Lee's 27th Mock Convention kicks off Friday. The pressure is on the team that will predict the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. Right now, that could be the toughest call since MockCon's early days. The Rockbridge Report's James Laverty is live at the Duchossois Tennis Center, site of this year's convention.
We're here at the Duchossois Tennis Center where they are starting to get ready for the convention tomorrow. In a tennis center that the director of operations said herself is not meant for conventions, so we're going to see how that goes. The political team, they're even more nervous as there are 5 candidates who all still have a very possible chance at winning this nomination.
2 weeks ago, students involved in Washington & Lee University's mock convention thought they had a good idea of who the Democratic Party's presidential nominee would be. But the results in Iowa and New Hampshire have created chaos.
We'll be working up until session 4 on Saturday to get this thing right.
W&L students have gotten it wrong only twice since 1948. The students are feeling the pressure. They don't want to become the third.
The political team will make the decision 5 minutes before they announce it.
The results in Iowa's caucus weren't finalized for days because the mobile app used to tally the votes crashed. Former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg narrowly defeated Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders.
Iowa was definitely chaotic. Our head of operations, John Harashinsky, was actually in Iowa at the time, so we were getting live reports about what was going on. And just the whole thing about the Buttigieg surprise and then the whole snafu with the app and all that kind of had us a little worried for a while.
MockCon's political team then met with every state chair to reevaluate their initial predictions. New Hampshire's results didn't help because Sanders narrowly defeated Buttigieg.
You can't take the New Hampshire primary for everything, but considering we only have one primary and one caucus preceding our convention, we obviously pay close attention.
The big surprise in New Hampshire was Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar. She finished a strong third.
Amy Klobuchar showed that she can gain a lot of supporters quite quickly with her New Hampshire performance. An exit poll from CBS yesterday showed that 69% of her supporters in the New Hampshire primary had decided to vote for her in the last week. That bespeaks something really strong in a primary where we've seen a lot of people entrenched in their camps.
MockCon is still considering 5 candidates. One of them is former Vice President Joe Biden. He finished 4th in Iowa and 5th in New Hampshire.
He was the front runner this whole time. It's too early to write him off. There's still a lot of support for him.
Former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg is a wild card.
Bloomberg is sort of the X factor in all this because he entirely bucks convention.
MockCon will be held at the university's tennis center. In the past, it was held in the gym, which is being renovated. Students and university workers began setting up for the convention after a women's basketball game Tuesday night. The changes include carpet, drapes, and new doors.
Every little detail that you see has been thought through, trying to mimic what has happened at previous mock conventions and real conventions and what's going to happen this summer in Milwaukee. We want to make this thing right.
Students know they've done everything they can to make the event a success.
It's definitely a mix between panic and just excitement. I've definitely hit more the excitement phase, and at least with operations, it's a lot of planning is done by now. We know more or less what to expect.
Kicks off in just under 2 hours in Stackhouse Theater with a media panel that includes CNN White House correspondent Jim Acosta and the founder of the app that crashed the Iowa caucuses, Tara Washington. Then, Friday morning, there will be a parade featuring 50 state delegations and the away float and the abroad float delegations. Then 4 sessions in here at the convention center with speakers, capped off Saturday with the last speaker, Trevor Noah. Then in the 4th session, the prediction will be made. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm James Laverty.
The Wuhan coronavirus continues to have the world on high alert. Today, the Centers for Disease Control confirmed the U.S.'s 15th case of the virus in San Antonio, Texas.
Stress that the individual has been quarantined since arriving at Lackland Air Force Base from the Wuhan province in China, and the individual remains in isolation in a local hospital.
As the virus continues to spread, many worldwide events have been affected. The biggest mobile technology fair, the World Mobile Congress, canceled its show due to safety concerns over the illness. And organizers of the 2020 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo have been meeting to discuss the virus's effect on the Games, but they confirmed there are no plans to cancel the Games that kick off in 5 months. So far, the virus has killed more than 1,300 people and infected upwards of 60,000 worldwide, with the majority of the illness still contained in China. President Trump finds himself in the midst of another controversy regarding his use of presidential power. This week, Trump tweeted about the harshness of the sentencing recommendation of his longtime friend Roger Stone. Stone was convicted of multiple crimes, including lying to Congress. The Justice Department then revised the recommendation to make it less harsh. Many believe Trump's tweets influenced the DOJ's decision, but Republicans disagree. CNN's Suzanne Malveaux reports.
President Trump thanking the Justice Department for intervening in the sentencing of his longtime confidant, Roger Stone.
I want to thank the Justice Department for seeing this horrible thing. And I didn't speak to him, by the way, just so you understand.
Top DOJ officials overruling the initial recommendation set by prosecutors who tried the case. Now, the timing of the sudden change coming into question. The president has repeatedly projected how he felt in a series of tweets before and after the Justice Department got involved. 4 federal prosecutors quit the case after the stunning reversal.
I don't know what happened. They all hit the road pretty quickly. I'm not concerned about anything. They ought to go back to school and learn, because I'll tell you, with the way they treated people, nobody should be treated like that.
President Trump also thanked Attorney General William Barr for taking charge of a case that was totally out of control and perhaps should not have even been brought. On Capitol Hill, Democrats are accusing Trump of pressuring the Justice Department.
This brazen assault on the independence and integrity of the Department of Justice is unprecedented.
We cannot give him a permanent license to turn the presidency and the executive branch into his own personal vengeance operation.
Democratic leaders from both chambers calling for emergency hearings and investigations into Trump and Barr's actions.
Left to his own devices, President Trump would turn America into a banana republic where the dictator can do whatever he wants, and the Justice Department is the president's personal law firm.
Trump's allies are downplaying the controversy.
I got real concerns about overzealous prosecution more than anything else. If I thought he had done something that had changed the outcome inappropriately, I'd be the first to say.
This is just crazy. I mean, there's nothing happening here except Bill Barr, who is the adult in the room, saying, wait, look, we got a problem here.
In the days since his acquittal, the president is targeting those who testified against him, dismissing 2 key witnesses in his impeachment hearings. Now, CNN has learned President Trump directly revoked the nomination for a top Treasury Department job for Jesse Liu, the former U.S. attorney in charge of Stone's case. Democrats are fearful Trump is assaulting America's democracy.
The foundation of our democracy, that you can't use your official powers to try to preserve your power. And that's what the president is doing today on almost a daily basis.
Sudan's transitional government said that it will pay $30 million to families of the 17 victims of the 2000 USS Cole attack. An American court concluded in 2014 that Sudan gave aid to al-Qaeda, leading to the attack. This settlement is Sudan's latest play to get the country off the U.S. terrorism list and improve relations with the West. In local news, neighbors are making noise again about the noise that Washington and Lee University students make when they throw parties in the Carrs Creek district of Rockbridge County. But the County Board of Supervisors isn't in a hurry to pass any new laws. Jackson Sharman has the story.
People who live near Washington and Lee University students in the Carrs Creek district of Rockbridge County have had it with loud parties. Toynette Culp is one of them. She wants the Rockbridge County Board of Supervisors to do something about it.
The citizens of this county have been and continue to suffer from noise exposure. We need a swift and permanent solution.
Culp and another neighbor named Tom Bennett spoke out at a meeting Monday night. They told the supervisors that loud parties and the trash left behind are a nuisance for people who live off Greenhouse Road and Furs Mill Road, where the students have parties.
It's
not just parties, it's also playing loud music or other sounds that are broadcast. These are broadcast essentially by loudspeakers.
The county's noise ordinance restricts loud music or other noise after 11 p.m. from Sunday through Thursday and after midnight on Friday and Saturday. But students don't need to get a permit to party. County Attorney Vicki Huffman presented 4 options to replace the current rules. They included a permit system, a zero tolerance for noise at any time, and strict penalties for violations.
My presenting it is more along the lines of, well, this is what you could do, and it could be uniform for weekdays and weekends.
WNL Executive Committee President Will Bolton says stricter rules would drive students out of the neighborhoods where they spend money.
The university is already considering a possible fourth-year housing option, and that's going to sever the bond that WNL students have with their community members, as well as making us less likely to purchase furniture, bedding, food off campus.
Culp says the student parties disrupt nearly every aspect of her life.
The quality of noise is so unescapable. I cannot escape it from inside my own residence.
Board Chairman Dan Lyons says the supervisors want the students and their neighbors to get together to work out their differences.
The board decided you can't fix this issue by writing an ordinance.
At the end of the meeting, students and their neighbors exchanged contact information. They agreed to keep working together. That means, at least for now, students can continue to party. I'm Jackson Sharman, reporting for the Rockbridge Report.
Next on the Rockbridge Report, we'll tell you about the new legislature Virginia lawmakers are proposing to handle Confederate monuments around the state.
This past week has brought us plenty of rain, but will this weather continue for the next couple of days? We'll find out more tonight.
And later in the show, we'll tell you how leaders in Buena Vista are brainstorming ways to save money. That and more on the Rockbridge Report.
Local Virginia governments would have the power to remove Confederate monuments in their public spaces under legislation state lawmakers approved this week. Republicans had blocked previous attempts to put states under local jurisdiction, but they lost control of the General Assembly in November, giving Democrats an opportunity to revive the issue. The House and Senate passed measures that would give cities and counties the autonomy to remove, relocate, contextualize, cover, or alter the monuments in their public spaces. Buena Vista city leaders spent a Saturday crunching numbers and still came up short. Isaac Thompson reports that their proposed spending cuts don't come close to making up a budget shortfall for a city already in financial trouble.
Buena Vista's City Council hosted a retreat at the Vista Links Golf Course over the weekend to solicit ideas for how the financially strapped city can cut costs and maintain services. Making matters worse, the city is losing a department head and its city manager. Councilwoman Lisa Clark served as mediator.
We had a lot of expenses that we weren't prepared for in the fiscal year, and we're trying to figure out what we can do to make that up and moving forward how we can continue to provide what the city needs.
The city had a deficit of $862,000 last year. That means there will be cuts in the upcoming year. The planning department proposed a reduction of $32,000 in its operating costs. The Public Works Department would achieve the cuts by reducing personnel.
But by eliminating the plant manager position, the lab manager position, along with the benefits, and adding the cost of paying Pace Laboratories to do our testing, we are saving on average between $50,000 and $60,000 a year.
The Parks and Recreation Department is losing its director in the next month. Katie Patterson proposed hiring an events coordinator, part-time, to save money. The day was supposed to be about cutting costs, but some departments asked for more money. The primary digester at the wastewater treatment plant needs a thorough cleaning, but it needs a new cover first. The preliminary cleaning and replacement will cost $490,000.
So this $490,000 is just to get it ready to be fixed.
The city also needs better software to track taxes. City planner Tom Roberts said upgraded software could cost at least $250,000. Councilmember Tyson Cooper says he's optimistic that the city can find a way through its problems.
We're going to have to do some things creatively over the next few years to keep the city financially viable. None of us on the city council want to raise taxes, so we're going to have to be creative and looking for alternatives.
Cooper says next year's budget will be finalized by the end of May. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Isaac Thompson.
What an interesting story from Isaac about a community that's so close to all of us. Speaking of Buena Vista, it's been raining cats and dogs in Lexington, Buena Vista, Rockbridge County. I can't get enough rain. My raincoat needs a break.
I don't know about that, Jack. Avalon, can we hope for a sunny MontCon weekend?
Not for sun, but I can give you less rain. Right now we are live at the tennis center, and as you can see, it is still a very dreary day. Rain happened earlier, so it makes a lot of sense, honestly. Looking at our current conditions, we can see that we have a high of 57 degrees and a low of 32, although right now it feels a lot more like 54 degrees. Our barometric pressure is sitting at 29.77 inches of mercury, which still makes for a pretty good day, and the humidity is sitting at 75% with a wind speed of 11 miles per hour. Now looking at our radar, you can see that there is some rain systems, but they are not going over the Lexington area. They are leaning closer towards Richmond, so we don't have to really expect any more rain coming anytime soon. Now looking at our current conditions, you can see that most of the cities surrounding us are leaning in the mid to high 50s with clouds across the board. Makes for a pretty day, although tomorrow we can expect cooler weather. Now taking a look at our 5-day forecast, we can see that there is going to be sun tomorrow with a high of 39 and a low of 19. But the weather is definitely going to stay in the lower temperatures, at least for Friday and Saturday. Then on Sunday and Monday, we are going to get some better weather with cloudy days that are in the mid 50s, with Tuesday capping us off with a higher 50-degree weather as our high. That's all I have for you guys. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Avalon. Next, legal trouble for one of the nation's top football programs. Our Colin Whitmore will give you the story.
And later, who said there's an age limit to be a Girl Scout? One woman has been donning the uniform and selling cookies for over 60 years. We'll give you the story later on the Rockbridge Report. Local high school and middle school students will attend the inaugural Rockbridge Career Fest at the Virginia Horse Center next Tuesday. The Chamber of Commerce serving Lexington, Buena Vista, and Rockbridge County organized the event for students to learn about job opportunities in the Rockbridge area. Virginia Career Works will be at the event from 4 to 6 p.m. to talk about career opportunities.
Speaking of career opportunities, I think some of the women's basketball players might have a career in the WNBA. I was at the game on Tuesday and I watched them destroy Eastern Mennonite University. Did you see that game, Lila?
No, unfortunately I wasn't able to go, but I heard it was a great game, Colin.
It really was a great game. The women's and the men's team are both rolling right now, absolutely dominating in ODAC play, and they are poised for a deep tournament run. But first, I've got a little bit of news from the gridiron and one of college football's most prolific programs. 2 Ohio State football players were dismissed from the team yesterday. Amir Reep and Jason Wint were accused of raping and kidnapping a woman on February 4th. Ohio State finished 13-1 last season and lost to Clemson in the college football playoff. In some more positive news, it's NBA All-Star Weekend. The primetime game featuring Team LeBron versus Team Giannis tips at 8 o'clock on Sunday night. My attention will be Saturday for the three-point and dunk contest, though. In the world of golf, the Genesis Open started today at beautiful Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades, California. Tiger Woods headlines the field this week, and it looks like he is currently 4 under through 10 holes. The leader is Matt Kuchar at 7 under, who is already in the clubhouse. The Big Cat is on the prowl. In local sports, the Perry McClure boys basketball team clinched the Pioneer District for the 2nd straight year. They beat Highland County 71-27 on Monday and followed that up with an eerily similar game against Bath County on Wednesday. The final to that one was 71-36. That team is really fun to watch, guys. If you get a chance to make it out to Buena Vista, check them out. Arguably the best team in the country right now isn't on the hardwood, but in the pool. The Rockbridge County girls swim team had a very strong showing at the regional championships. Allie Pfaff led the way and was crowned in the 100 and 200 freestyle. In all, the Wildcats had 5 swimmers advance to the state championships. In local college sports, Jenny's Hoops just keeps on rolling. The men's team has won 13 out of their last 14 games and are now 18-4 overall. Yesterday, they hit the road and dominated a tough Roanoke squad. The final score was 71-50. And like you mentioned, Jack, it's not just the Washington and Lee men beating up on opponents. The The women's team is a force to be reckoned with as well. They picked up an 80-60 win over Eastern Mennonite on Tuesday and are now 16-7 overall. Quite impressive. The ODAC tournament starts Monday, February 24th, and I cannot wait to see what those two teams do. That's going to be all for sports, guys.
Thanks, Colin. You've seen Girl Scouts selling their cookies all around the community, but arguably the most excited person is the 98-year-old scout who still dons the uniform. CNN's Irene Snyder has the story.
It's that time of the year to stock up on boxes of peanut butter patties, caramel delights, and Thin Mints. Perhaps the most excited Girl Scout around is 98-year-old Ronnie Backenstow.
I'll go home and eat some cookies.
She's proudly donned the Girl Scout uniform for 88 years.
I became a Girl Scout in 1932. I wanted to be one so badly. And my mother said, when you're 10. So when I was 10, I was ready to go.
Ronnie's adventures in the Scouts have taken her from coast to coast and around the world. Later in life as a Scoutmaster, she recalls traveling to Jamaica and Switzerland with her troop.
I don't know if you ever tried to get into a uniform in a pup tent. I did. It's not easy.
Even in retirement at Phoebe Burke's in Warnersville, Ronnie's still going strong.
I've had a dab, but I'm still 6.
Her stamina, her energy, her mind, she's nonstop.
In general, she just makes me laugh when I'm with her.
She says she's happiest while selling cookies alongside her fellow Scouts.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yes.
Ronnie says back in the day when she first became a Girl Scout in the 1930s, there were only 3 different kinds of cookies, and each box cost only about 15 cents. Now, while the price has certainly gone up, Ronnie says her mission remains the same. And that is to inspire and educate future generations.
I think that it was just part of living. And that's what really Girl Scouting is. It teaches you how to live.
And that's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
You can stay current on Rockbridge area news by logging on to rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Have a good night, Lexington.